A lot of headlines right now are screaming for a recession that is right around the corner. But we have Jerome Powell, who is saying that we were able to have a soft landing and are probably going to avoid a recession. So what is it? Well, in this video, guys, we're going to talk about 5 major macroeconomic things that you need to know about. And we'll break them down one by one so you can have a better understanding of what's being told right now, what you need to pay attention to, and most importantly, the kind of moves that you should be making to protect yourself in case we do have a recession, how that might affect the crypto market, and how to be in the best positions possible to take advantage of either a recession or a crypto bull run. Stay tuned, guys. You're going to love this one. Let's go. So we had the banking crisis. Unless you've been buried under a rock, you have been hearing about this. We had 4 banks collapse so far. There may be more. Silvergate, Signature, SVB, and most recently, First Republic Bank. So the main issue really was what the bank does with your money. When you deposit in the bank, they go out and buy bonds, and these bonds often have a maturity date or a date in which you can only reclaim your cash at a certain time. I think the biggest ones were 10-year bonds. And what happens is that they have an interest rate on those that they receive for buying the bonds. But what happens when the interest rate dramatically increases is that the bonds become devalued because people can buy the bonds much cheaper. So the total value, the collateral that the bank has of your deposits significantly decreases in value. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem because if everyone could just be patient and wait till maturity, hey, all the money's there, all good. But the problem is when everybody gets uncomfortable with a certain situation and wants their money now, and the bank doesn't have that money, can't pay it. This is when the banks fail. This is pretty much true for everything that we've seen so far. For the first time in history, we've also seen some really major things happening with Bitcoin. When First Republic, when the news came out that this bank was going down, we saw a Bitcoin pump. This was amazing to see and something that really made me personally happy because it shows you that Bitcoin is starting to really be perceived by the mainstream financial markets as a store of value, a risk-off asset. Point number 3 is this impossible hole that cannot possibly be dug out of. It's $31 trillion in debt. 31 trillion is 31,000 billions. This is ridiculous, and it's impossible for us to get out of this. In fact, the United States pays more interest every year on its debt than the entire GDP. So it is literally impossible. So number 4 is the real estate market. We've got problems in both, right? We've got problems in the commercial real estate market, and that is massive. But to go into more depth, make sure that you guys are watching the videos that I'm doing with Tom. When we talk about things like the commercial real estate market, it is significant. And the TLDR of that, it's not necessarily maybe as big as the housing market for residential. Why? Because the housing market still has demand for affordable multifamily real estate. What's happening is a lot of this commercial real estate is getting reformatted into multifamily residential. The problem is those permits take a long time to get implemented. And what's going on is you had a large amount of home buyers who now are in trouble. Their interest rates are going up on their mortgages, and the inflation is killing them as well. So there might be massive mortgage defaults. And we've seen this before. That's what 2007 and 8 were. And that was a recession based on just real estate mortgages, right? Which this time is so much bigger. There's all these other factors we're talking about. It's not just a real estate bubble, it's an everything bubble. This is just a death spiral that will happen. And this is very possible going to happen in the near future. And I haven't heard a viable plan to resolve this. Historically, summer has always been a really bullish time for real estate. It'll be very interesting to see if that trend happens again this year. My prediction says that it's not going to. People are well aware of the looming crisis ahead of us. And don't forget, there's going to be a lot of false propaganda coming out of White House, right? It is early days of election season. We just saw Biden announce his rerun for office, and also Trump is also going to be running. So pressure is high. Number 5 is the stock market. If you watch this channel, you have a much better perspective of what to expect. And I tend to take data over the mainstream media perspective, right? But you've got kind of opposing views right now on what's going to happen in the equities market. My personal opinion is that it's going to take something significant, like a black swan event, something to break before we see a major pullback in the stock market. But I do personally believe something like that will happen. We have to wait and see. I don't think anything's happening today, but I do think that probably over the next few months, we will see something dramatic happen. One thing that you really need to take into consideration when listening to what I'm saying is that, well, first of all, none of this is financial advice, but Secondly, everything has a lag. We're trying to forecast things that happen right now, right? And that's what this game is all about, is forecasting so that we can make the best decisions with our portfolio, try to prepare, try to hedge, things like that, and also know when to go all in. Again, the best thing that I can say is make sure that you subscribe to the channel and definitely check out my videos, because we will be covering this super closely. That is literally why we've hired a research team, because Master Ventures, my company, and all of our portfolio companies, we keep our treasury in right now predominantly US dollars. And I'm not sure if that's the best place to keep it. We want to make sure that we're always in a healthy position. So I'm sharing that knowledge with you guys. Now, what does that mean for crypto? We're in a really interesting position right now where we've never seen in history, and I'm so happy to be saying this right now, is we start to see Bitcoin taken as a really serious asset, and people are starting to really understand its true scarcity. You cannot create anymore. You have to, and I know a lot of us like to buy meme coins and we like to buy altcoins for 100x gains and whatever, but I do strongly encourage you guys to make sure that you try to acquire as many Satoshis as possible. I made a video not too long ago, I'll link it in the description below, about how to get into the Bitcoin 1% club. And that is very easy to actually do. And I highly suggest you guys go watch that video. Guys, I am literally giving you the keys to how to become one of the richest 1% of the world when it comes to Bitcoin terms. And if you believe, like I do, that Bitcoin will be a world reserve currency, this is huge. I know a lot of you guys have, a different risk appetite. And so if you're like my boring researcher, Tom, and I mean that in the best way possible, Tom has 15 to 20% of his portfolio in blue chips like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And the rest he has in these short-term treasuries where you can get quite boring but steady interest rates around the tune of 5% in what Tom's doing. And that's pretty much how he's creating his portfolio right now. For me, I'm mostly in meme coins, so. No, but for real, for me, I am way more, way more exposed into the crypto market. Not only do I have a lot of my net worth tied up in investments that haven't launched yet or not liquid yet, but I do have, and I will always have, and always try to accumulate as much Bitcoin as I can. So whenever I can, I'm just buying more Bitcoin. And of course, again, not financial advice, but this is how I think about it. For every dollar that I put into Bitcoin, it's probably worth at least $100 in the future, right? So let that sink in for a little bit. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that it brought you value. If it did, and you haven't liked the video yet, please do. And I make this content for free for you guys. It would mean the world to me if you started sharing this with your friends. Bloopers. We need bloopers. Okay. Recently, First Republic Bank. Do I have to do it again? Probably. Okay. Yeah, but it was a cute thing. Okay, I looked cute in doing it, I think. Do you guys think it's funny? Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, you guys as in the viewers, not you guys as in producers. In the middle of the midst of chaos in the markets, let's have a little bit of sense of humor. Let's laugh a little bit. It's good for the soul. Anyway.